Should be live. Let's wait for some people to get on there before we start talking.
Yeah.
Let them know what's going on with this Newcastle's disease.
Well, hello, everybody that is going to join us today.
So if you need anything off that screen, most of the question. Okay, there we go. We got some people coming on
All right,
board.
Juan.
Okay, good. We're just going to wait a little bit, try to get some people on board here so we can have somewhat of a full audience because this is important. Hey, Jim, good to see you. Hey, Debbie, good to see you too. Susan.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Our neighbor. You definitely want to listen. So hopefully, I mean, I really want this to go all out, but we definitely need some local people, some San Diego people.
Right. Definitely, because it's affecting all of us up here in Ramona and maybe even to San Diego County now.
Oh, no. Yeah. I just found out from a friend of mine that it's not just in Ramona, but now it's in San Diego. I just don't know exactly where yet. The one in Ramona is...
Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about what we're talking about.
Okay,
actually.
What we're talking about is, I know Riverside and LA and areas up north of us got hit pretty good with Newcastle's, but now it's in Ramona, in my little small town of Ramona. So now I'm dealing with it. So I just want to let everybody know what's going on. And because what happened was I announced it and the Facebook pages lit up with all kinds of questions and comments and things like that. And they made some comments and questions that concern me that we need to talk about. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about what's going on up here, address those questions that concern me, and then Nancy's going to talk about, or we'll both talk about, the ins and outs and everything that has to do with Newcastle's and how bad it is and all that kind of. Anything out?
Give you some information, yes.
Okay, so a few days ago, I found out that we got hit with Newcastle's. It's a confirmed or a positive Newcastle's test, about 3 miles from here, not very far.
Right.
So they immediately start killing the birds that were infected and the immediate neighbors around them right away. I knew that was going to happen. And then they started testing. So you have your kill zone and then you have your test zone. And every time they find another positive test, they expand that. And eventually they also expand the kill zone too. So far we're pretty good. I think I'm getting some spikes. We haven't been tested yet. They haven't even visited us yet. So looks like we're clear so far. And if that was the only case, then we should be good and everything will be back to normal, hopefully. Although they did just find another case in San Diego.
San Diego City.
So, and this is what we're going to address today too. As much as this is a big deal to me, everybody knows me. A lot of people know me from the Gamecock and my website and all the other magazines I write for and what have you. I've been, doing this for a long time. I've got a family of birds that I've been raising for almost 30 years. So I've got a huge investment. Everybody knows them as the Maximus line. How do I say this? This is a big deal for me that I could lose my birds, 30-year investment. But what's going on, and if you look on my Facebook page, the biggest thing is everybody says, get your birds out of there. Get the best tree you can and go put them somewhere. This is the problem, guys. This is why this thing keeps spreading, is people are panicking and moving their birds. The only thing going to kill this disease is isolation. You got to keep your birds in your yard, stay away from people, stay away from other people's yards, keep people off your yards, leave your birds alone. Try to keep the wild birds from getting in your yard as much as possible, or try to do something with your pen so they don't get in there. You got to practice good biosecurity programs. Okay. So this is never going to end until you stop moving your birds. I don't care if it's one bird, a couple birds, whatever. You do not know if they're exposed. They could look perfectly good. You could be miles away from the infected zone, but you move your birds and guess what? If one of them just barely got it or whatever, they're going to infect everybody else. And before you know it, it's all over the place. It's never going to quit. And, this is what I'm hearing most of the time is I lost count of how many people told me I need to get some birds out of here and protect them. That's the last thing. I'm going to set myself an example. I've been telling people for a long time, leave your birds in your yard. I have much to lose. Everybody knows how much I have to lose, and I am not moving my birds, not one bird. I will cooperate. If they test my birds, I will test my birds and do what they need to do. If I lose my birds, it's going to be, it'll be a travesty for me. But I do have confidence in my ability to get more birds and create a family from them and start over. I'm never going to quit raising game fowl. As much as the Maximus line is important to me, I will keep on raising, birds, and I will do what I can to just keep on going forward and do what I can to create a line and make them as good as I can. I have a number of breeding programs on my website called like the Founders Program. I believe in that, and I will use that particular program to do what I need to do, and I'll do it everything I've been teaching other people to do. I believe in my ability, I have the confidence, and I have the programs to do it. So as bad as it will be to lose my birds, which I'm not sure that's happening or not. Like I said, I haven't even been tested yet. This thing could go the other direction for all I know, but I'm prepared. Okay. Mentally, physically, it's been tough. It's been kind of a tough day. And not only that, I'm dealing with a sinus infection, and it's really hot here. So just bear with me, and hopefully I won't lose my mind here. But so do we want to move to letting them know what the disease is all about, or is there anything else? Oh, the other thing I want to talk about too, that they talked about on my Facebook page, besides moving them, is vaccination. There's countries like the Philippines and Mexico that live with this disease. The United States will not live with an active Newcastle's virus. They just won't. If you vaccinate, they will test positive. Okay. Most of the birds that are being killed because of the Newcastles is not because they have Newcastles, it's because they live near someone who did get Newcastles. That's the truth of it. One person with a small group of birds got one bird with Newcastles, and people all over Ramona are losing their birds all over the place just to keep it from spreading. So I'll try, if we can, we'll try to answer some of your guys' comments here on the post here. I apologize if we don't get to them. We'll do our best, or maybe I'll try to go back later and answer them. Okay. So, but I just want to get all this out. So vaccinations, yes, they will test positive if they're vaccinated. Vaccinations aren't, I've talked to a number of people, state lab and everything else. They're not guaranteed to work. Most of the time they don't work. They don't work at all. Okay. And they're not only that, once you vaccinate, it's an all or nothing deal. You got to vaccinate all your birds, and you got to do it every 6 months. Okay. And there's always that chance they can carry, they won't express the disease, but they will be carriers, and they can pass it to other birds. So forget this vaccination thing. It's not a good idea. So the two things I was really concerned with is the fact that everybody wants to move their birds and protect their birds, and that's how it's being spread, and vaccinations, which I think are not a good idea. It just doesn't work. And like I said, I don't even know why they sell this stuff. I just don't get this.
Well, here's the thing too about vaccinations is that if you buy the vaccine, it's a very delicate vaccine. If it's in room temperature for more than 1 or 2 hours, it's null and void. It's not even any good anymore. It can be so potent that if you do not use the whole vaccine bottle, you have, and even if you do, you have to burn that bottle. You can't just toss it in the trash. You've actually got to burn the bottle and any unused contents. So I definitely would not go in the vaccine area.
No, stay away from that. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work properly. So, and like I said, the United States won't live with active Newcastles. So if they test, they're going to kill your birds. And chances are, and if you just keep your birds in your yard, don't spread them around, you're not going to most likely get it anyways. Most of the birds that are being killed aren't the ones that are being infected. It's they're healthy birds. So this moving your bird thing and the vaccinations is crazy talk. Sorry. You guys got to stop doing this. This thing would have been taken care of over a year ago if they would just stop moving birds.
Right, because they would have been able to
and if it's true that it's in San Diego too, then that was because someone moved birds.
Right.
So
Somebody move birds.
let me say this real quick too. For some of you that came in late, I'm seeing people joining left and right here. I don't know how many people's on there. It doesn't say. This will be recorded. Okay, so you'll be able to go back and listen to what you missed. And so as soon as this thing's done, I'll just hit a button and make sure that you guys can go back and rewatch this. So do you want to get into some of the, just, you know?
Well, first of all, Juan was asking on Facebook earlier if our birds are infected right now. And no, our birds are not infected. They're all healthy.
They're all good.
And it looks like, as of right now, we're out of the kill zone or the testing zone. We're 3 miles away, but still, you don't know how far this is going to spread.
They can knock on my door right now.
Right, we're waiting.
Yeah, if you see me run to the door and turn this thing off,
Yeah.
that we're being, they're checking us out.
So we're anticipating that they will eventually find us.
So if they come to my door, and this is what I suggest to other people, is don't let them on your yard. If they want to test your birds, bring the birds to them, to your gate. Okay, don't let them on your yard. You hold the bird. I would suggest having some pens near the end of the property where they're at, ready to go, so that when they test the birds, you can put those birds in those pens and leave them there. Or
away from everybody else.
Away from all the other birds. Yeah, okay. I would even go as far as say as you might want to cull those birds. If those birds have been tested or touched, I would go ahead and cull those birds. You don't know if these people are not only going from farm to farm,
how clean they are.
Yeah, because I've talked to a number of people who said that when they got their birds were completely healthy, and it wasn't until they had their birds tested, and it was the birds that were tested, they're the ones that got sick.
And they were healthy prior.
They were healthy prior to that. So,
and when you have them tested, you hold the birds while what they do is they swab their mouth.
Yeah.
To see if they've got the disease. So
make sure your name, make sure the paperwork, the information on the paperwork is correct, and that it doesn't say anything about the birds being sick or infected. That's it, because you don't want any falsification of records or papers or nothing like that. So make sure what you're signing is correct. You know, control the situation. Do not let them on your yard at all. Go ahead and let them test the birds, and keep the birds away from the main flock, and even maybe go as far as cull the birds that. So you know, try to select the worst, you know, healthy birds, but try to select the worst birds on your yard, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to, if they test my birds, the birds that I let them test, I'm going to probably cull them, most likely.
Right. You want to make sure that you document their license plate. Make sure that the vehicle that they come up in is clean, because after every time that they do any kind of action, they have to go and clean themselves and their vehicles. They're supposed to get a name of the person who's in charge, because most likely the other workers will not talk to you at all, even if you ask them questions. But there's one person that is in head of it that will come to your house. He will give you his name. So if you can't remember it, write it down, document it, take pictures, take an inventory of all your birds so that you know all the birds that you have. Yeah.
Make sure you get a name. That's a big thing. So, you know, make them accountable. But, you know, I'm not trying to make these guys the bad guy. I'm sure the people they're hiring to do all this they don't want to be here any more than we want this to happen. You know, they don't want conflict. They don't want to start a fight. They know there's emotion. The emotions are high, and this is a problem. So, you know, we got to look at both sides as much as we can, and, you know, try to cooperate. Like I said, I don't want to lose my birds, but, you know, it's pretty close. It is what it is. And I'm just trying to keep a positive outlook that if I lose my birds, I'll start over, you know?
Right. And so to answer Brandon, no, none of our birds have been tested yet. Thank you, Golden State Game Farm, for joining in. We appreciate that. Richard wanted to know, how do they know if you have chickens or not? They do go to house to house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course you can hear roosters.
You can hear roosters or whatever. Yeah. And it's not hard.
There was a lady yesterday, because this is so new to Ramona. There was a lady yesterday, and she only had hens. She had a backyard flock of, you know, eggers, and she wouldn't allow them to come on our yard to kill her chickens, and they stalked her the whole rest of the day, and they came back today.
They said they'd come back the next day.
They said they'd come back the next day with authorities.
With all the trucks and all the equipment and everything, they were not going to take no for an answer.
They mean business.
I mean, if they took no for an answer, then they wouldn't wouldn't kill any birds. I understand that. And what really upsets me is when I first heard that this broke out in the Riverside area, it took the authorities months before they sent a mandatory kill, or to depopulate the farms that were infected. They only recommended that they did. They waited too long to actually take action and do something about this, and then it was out of control. So I'm not sure what they're thinking, man. But right now they're pretty aggressive. They're not wasting any time, and they're depopulating birds left and right.
Yeah.
So, and they're testing a lot of birds. So a lot of people are asking for advice. So
right. Well, we've got Debbie on, and we want to thank you for your concern. Those are nice wishes that you've given us. Lewis is on board, and Kenny, I know this is off topic, but he wants to know how he can get one of those nice hats that you're wearing. So. Join my Breeders Academy, and if you live in it's Lewis. I mean, is that one of our members?
Oh yeah, I think so. Talk to me on the Breeders Academy. I'll work something out with you. I actually have to get some more made.
Yeah. They're nice hats, aren't they?
Yeah, I'll let you know. It's our Breeders Academy logo, but let's not talk about that right now. Let's move on. I'm not here to promote the website, really.
Right. Okay, so Randy was asking.
Let me say it one more time, because we're getting a lot of people joining. If you feel like you've missed something, we will be recording this. And so once we're done, we're going to hit a button and you can go back and listen to this whole video again. So don't feel like you miss anything. This is actually live, but it is recorded too. Okay.
So Randy was asking, what preventive measures can we take? So you want to talk about biosecurity?
Biosecurity, like I said, you gotta, if you do any kind of shows whatsoever, I recommend that whatever birds you take off your yard, you don't bring them back. You either sell them or cull them, I guess, but don't bring them back to your farm. And if you're bound and determined to do it, I suggest you set up a quarantine area. And what I call the 30-30 rule. Basically, it's the farthest place on your yard. You put them there. You take care of them. They're the last birds you take care of during the day. You wait 30 days to see if they're symptomatic for anything. If everything looks good, you put a sacrificial hen or a bird with them, and make sure that that sacrificial bird doesn't come down with everything. And after another 30 days, they should be fine, and you should be able to put them in your yard. So that's what I would suggest, is to quarantine them and feed them last every day.
Right. So Susie, who's actually one of our good friends, was asking, can it be spread by wild birds? Yes, it can.
Absolutely. That's why they have such a big test radius. They have their kill zone, and they go around. There's a certain, I think it's 2 football fields length for absolute kill when they start out. And then it's I think it's is it 2 miles or 1 mile? I think it's a 1 mile radius when they start out. Mm-hmm. As far as testing to see what the spread is, but sparrows are big. They won't be infected with it, but they can carry it, and so that's why they kill the birds in the immediate area when birds do get infected.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the transmission, because Lloyd was asking about that. It can be passed through the egg, the nest boxes, tainted waters, cracked eggshells. It can be on the roost, the bedding, the feed, respiratory secretions in the eyes and the mouth and the nose, the feces and body fluids, shoes, clothing, and actually car tires in the wild birds.
So in other words, it can be spread by other birds, wild animals, and you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very contagious.
And the only way that you can kill it is the ultraviolet rays of the sun and a good disinfectant.
Yeah. Debbie's asking, did it start near you in a backyard flock or commercial? Okay. From what I understand, it was a backyard flock, small backyard flock. But the thing is I live in a town there's commercial farms all over the place. I'm surrounded by them. They're everywhere. This used to be next to Petaluma. It was one of the chicken capitals of the country, and I know it was like a turkey, the biggest turkey community in the country too. So we still have a lot of chicken farms, and they're big chicken farms, and the state is not going to mess around. They're going to do everything they can to protect those chicken farms. And where this happened wasn't very far from 3 of them.
Exactly.
3 of them. So they are not wasting any time on.
Yeah,
on
well,
this.
we're still not sure because it was said that it was a backyard flock, but then now they're wondering maybe if it was
The rumors are flying. If you
they're
go on
flying, yeah.
Facebook, nobody really knows what's going on, and they're all, saying we're just not getting a lot of facts. The state really hasn't spoke up very much.
We just keep hearing that they're creating a statement, but they needed to
but
be
we're
creating
seeing
a
it.
statement yesterday.
Yeah, there's people walking all over the place with suits and everything, and so, but like I said, the biggest reasons we're talking today is because of the fact everybody's saying, move your birds, go hide your birds, take them to a friend's house who don't have birds, and then the vaccination. So we're never going to get a handle on this if those two things keep happening. So what else you want to say?
Well, Nani was saying that if you got wild birds that are flying from, migrating from one state to another state and stuff like that, this is going to keep continuing.
Yeah, especially waterfowl. Waterfowl, they carry all kinds of diseases. So like the influenza and everything. So if you got waterfowl, do everything you can to keep them from landing on your yard. Do not attract them. Yeah.
Right.
They're probably the worst of them all.
No, Richard, thank you for the good luck. We appreciate that. Hopefully it'll all be okay, but the word needs to get out to the community of the San Diego County that, because we've got lots of
everywhere.
people.
We don't know where this is going to go.
Well, true. I mean, you could go to another state.
Yeah, easily. So anything else?
Well, let's see what else we've got here. It's not, this disease does not just infect one part of the bird. It can infect the respiratory, the digestive, the nervous system, all three systems at once, or just one of them, or just two of them. You never know. It will incubate in a matter of 2 to 15 days, and in some cases up to 21 days before they start showing signs of the illness. But if you see birds just dropping dead all over your yard, you've got something serious going on.
Yeah, in 2003, I had a guy call me, and he told me what was going on with his birds, and the Newcastles was kind of new. I didn't really know that much about it at the time. This is when I first started writing for the magazines. I think I'd been writing for a few years at that point. And so he told me this, and so I suggested that he did talk to the state lab, because I mean, his birds were literally, like, he was talking to me on the phone. They were dropping on the ground dead, not just one here and there. They were all of a sudden looking good. Next thing he said, all of a sudden they were looking bad, and boom, within an hour they were dying on them. They're falling off the roost. So I told him to call the state lab, and again, they took a little while getting active with it, and they almost waited till they waited till it was out of control. And at that same time, let me I got ahead of myself. Okay, he told me that. Okay, and I did tell him to call the state lab. Okay, now I remember. He called the state lab, and they said, no, we haven't had Newcastle since early 1970s. I doubt that's what you have. And he kind of just shoved them off. Okay, this is what he told me. Okay, so I was a little concerned because I've never seen anything like that, where birds were just dropping off while he's talking to me on the phone. Okay, so I wrote an article in the Gamecock magazine called it was about Newcastles, and I even added cholera to it because it had kind of the same symptoms, and so I wasn't really sure which one it was. And that came out, and people started reading that particular article, and they started all calling the state labs and the vets and stuff like that. And I don't want to say her name, but she's the one that works for one of these things, said that they almost really didn't act until they started getting phone calls from that article that I wrote, that they said that because of this article, they thought they had, this is what they had. So they said, okay, let's go ahead and have somebody check it out. Sure enough, they tested it. It was Newcastle's. And so they got a late start, because that article, I wrote it didn't come out for like a month after that. So that's how long it took for them to get the word. And so then it took almost a year to fight that. Well, what are we in? Almost 2 years now?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. And it's all because they got a late start on this, and because people won't leave their birds in their yard. They won't, they're panicking and they're moving birds.
We've got Gus in Texas, and he's asking, he found blackbirds, one dying and another dead that fell. Could it be the hot southeast weather?
It might be West Nile virus. I was talking to Dr. Bradley, who's I think retired now, but she was at our at UC Davis, the extension, and I was talking to her about that, and she says most likely if you're seeing a dead
like a crow,
bluebird, a crow, or a raven. Chances are it's probably West Nile virus. So, which could affect our birds, but it's not as bad. And if we get it, it's almost like a flu type symptoms. And I think Newcastle's the same thing. If we get it, it kind of feels like a mild flu.
Yeah, very mild. I mean, it really doesn't affect us at all. If you're a handler in, say, you're in a commercial in poultry business where you're handling the birds all the time, and they come down with the Newcastle's disease, the most that you're going to get is conjunctivitis in the eyes and a mild temperature. So it's really not going to bother you. In fact, you can eat a bird that has the Newcastle's disease. You can actually still eat the carcass.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but I mean,
okay.
it doesn't affect us like it does them.
So any other facts?
No, but we've got a lot of people joining us.
Let me say this too. Go on my YouTube channel, Kenny Troiano. We did a Bred to Perfection episode on Newcastles.
Episode 4.
Was it? Nancy mostly did it. So you'll learn a lot about Newcastles by listening to that episode.
Right. In the show notes. Where are the show notes? On your website.
breedersacademy.com. Just go to the search and put in Newcastles. It should take you right to that particular episode. And you'll be able to look at the show notes for it. But the information inside the audio, the actual show is really good. Nancy did a good job with that. So I would check that out. And she did that like a year ago.
Yeah, right after it came out.
Yeah, when it was starting to really take off. And it got a lot of hits. So, yeah, definitely check that out. You're welcome, Susan. Appreciate that.
Miss Susie.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions out there for us on this?
Are we up on, did we cover everything?
Yeah, we've covered everything.
Okay, let me see if we can answer a handful of questions. So,
Gus says they've had cases of West Nile virus.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
And that was in Texas.
Yeah. If we're just quiet and staring, we're reading, okay? Try not to write these huge paragraphs because
it's okay. I've got it.
I'll let Nancy do it because I'm trying to skim and
we've gone through all the ones that have given us a comment. Yes.
Have we?
Yes, we have.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate that. Yeah. He's given us prayers. And I do appreciate that. A lot of people sent their prayers and wished us the best of luck. And right now, a lot of people are dealing with this worse than we are. So everything so far is okay. But
shout out to John Lester. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Right. Lots of people joining us. I appreciate that. If you all have any questions, please feel free to ask. We'll be on for a few more minutes.
Yeah. And I may add this to maybe a Bred to Perfection episode, like a special. I'll try to edit this and get this out again. Plus, there'll be a recording here on Facebook as well. So,
Gus, thanks for your prayers. Appreciate it. Hope all is well for you in that hot state of Texas.
Stephanie.
Yep, Stephanie's on.
All birds. Yeah, Stephanie's asking me, she's one of our members as well, are they culling all birds or just poultry, such as parrots and aviary birds? Everything. They're killing turkeys, ducks, geese, chickens of all kinds. They're killing doves, pigeons, parrots, you name it. I don't know how far they've gotten here, but I know that's what they do.
They've killed three people's flocks. So three flocks.
Three farms?
3 different flocks.
Okay, so far.
Small flocks.
Okay.
Yeah, backyard flocks.
And then we're still going to find out what's going on in San Diego. And I'm not sure. San Diego's a big place, so it could be anywhere. Hopefully it's...
Well, I mean, if we can't find out the exact place that it happened here in Ramona, I mean, how are we going to find out San Diego? They're being pretty hush-hush about exact where it was.
Yeah. They're, for the most part, trying to be hush-hush as much as possible. We wouldn't have found out if it wasn't rumor
for social
or word
media.
Of mouth. Yeah. Facebook. And I think it's because they're afraid people are going to start moving their birds, you know?
Which, you know, it's very tempting, but we've seen what has happened up in San Bernardino and Riverside, how hard it was for them to contain it up there. And it's still not completely contained.
When was the last, I think the last case was June, like 8 or 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were getting closer and closer to that 180 days to where we'd be, okay, all clear button. And then somebody had to go move their bird down here and infect us.
MPIP test in Louisiana is free. Yeah, no, they'll test your birds. They have no problem doing that. You can take a sick bird to the lab, and they'll have no problem testing it and everything. But
I wouldn't bring it back.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring it. Well, they would want a live bird, but you're not going to get it back. No, they're gonna do it.
But I mean, even here, don't let them handle your birds.
Yeah. So I don't really have much more to say than that. I just wanted to address this because I was getting a lot of comment on Facebook and a lot of well wishes and everything, but I got a lot of people saying, hide your birds, take your birds out there, take a trio, you got to protect your birds, and then the vaccination thing started coming up, and I'm like,
we need to address this on video.
Yeah.
So that we can,
So I may even do this from now on when I have such a outcome like this, or a lot of comment in my Facebook that it's really tough to answer all of them. So maybe I can just do like these lives and try to reach more people. What's she saying?
She's asking if Susie's asking if there's a website that we can go to that is doing the investigation.
We haven't been able to find much. It's that hush hush.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coming out with a statement, and they're not yet. There's a couple.
Although Susie, they're gonna have a tough time getting to you because I mean, she's like, whew, way out there, man.
They're not even gonna know where you exist. Unless they fly drones, because in Riverside and San Bernardino, they were actually flying drones over people's farms to see who has and who doesn't have chickens.
Yeah, if you see a big drone, I'm not talking about these little tiny things. I'm talking about a huge drone.
Or a helicopter circling around, checking things out, possibly. They could go that route. There are a few Facebook pages here in the San Diego County that you could go to. One is SOB, it's Save Our Birds. That's a Facebook page that's out there that's pretty active. And then you've got, San Diego Sun. Well, actually, it's the Sun Valley Poultry, who actually do have a lot of information there. This is San Diego County where you'll see this. Donita is a poultry judge who has a lot of connections. And
is she with us right now?
I didn't see her, but she's got a lot of connections, and she actually pretty much knows first when things are happening.
Yeah, sometimes she's the first one we call.
Right. And you can see her on Sun Valley Poultry Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything else?
Let's see. We got a couple more comments, 7 more comments here. Let's see.
Okay. Go ahead and click on that. Oh, there we go. Okay. So far, Jay's asking, is California the only state confirmed Newcastles so far? Yeah, let's try to keep it that way. We don't need to affect the whole country. I don't have any idea what the UGBA is saying about anything. They, I don't know if they're even helpful about anything anymore.
Well, Debbie's asking.
Yes, Debbie, it does pass to hatching eggs. It is in the egg.
And even if it does, if the egg comes out pure, the nesting can infect the egg because the eggs are porous.
Is this a new strain of Newcastle's? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if there's different strains or not.
Yeah,
or what. Is there?
There are different strains. There are more dangerous. The viral Newcastle's disease it's like a superbug of Newcastle's disease. So it's definitely more potent than the ones that they had in 1971.
I wish Mexico took this as serious as the United States does. Because, chances are this is where it came from, because they live with it all the time. They're always dealing with it. They're always vaccinating for it. United States, wow, my phone's going crazy. Hopefully I'll get to that later. Dino, what's Dino saying? Okay. That's family.
Well, Jason was asking what state we're in. We're in California.
We're in Southern California in the San Diego area. And,
right.
It's weird. I thought we were going to be okay. I really didn't think it'd come down here. And, that's where it affected last year, was in the same area, and they got it handled within a year. So I really didn't think it would make it down here. And we went so long before it did. And where does it land? In my backyard.
Yeah, Ramona.
Yeah, Ramona, so.
I am so mad that somebody brought a bird down here that was infected, because we were all being pretty good here in Ramona about keeping a good biosecurity yard.
There's no reason to get infected if you think about it, because isolation is the key. This is going around. This is a factor. Keep your birds in your yard. Do not move around. Don't share with other people, whatever. So the ones that are actually getting infected, I mean, shame on you, really, because like I said, they're talking about how many birds are actually being depopulated, but most of those are healthy birds. You get one bird in someone's yard that gets infected, it's the farms all around them that are getting depopulated as well.
Yeah, it doesn't just affect you.
That's what makes me mad. And then I go on Facebook, and that's all they keep saying is move your birds, protect your birds, hide a trio, take it to a friend's house, And
I know it's tempting. I mean, it's really tempting, but this is never going to be done with if we don't stop moving our birds.
Someone's saying, do they just show up on your farm and test your birds? Well, I assume they're going to knock on our door and tell us that they need to do that. So
yeah, they'll give you paperwork. They'll knock on the door and they'll give you paperwork and say, we need to test your birds. And they'll ask if they can come on your yard, and you'll say no. And you'll say, okay, I will bring a bird to you. Hold that bird in your hand. Don't let them handle your bird. Let them do their swab. Make sure that when that swab goes into the test tube or whatever, that your name and address is on that testing tube.
Yeah, you don't want it to be someone else's yard.
Yeah, you don't want it to get mixed up. So verify that it's yours. I would take a picture of it for documentation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember,
they're not going to like that, but I would do it.
No, they're going to want to be as hush-hush as they can.
Yeah, my camera's going to be flying, man. Again, I'm going to say it again because I still have a lot of people joining right now, and we're going to be wrapping it up, I'm sure, pretty soon. This is going to be recorded, so you're going to be able to go back on Facebook and watch this from the beginning. So don't worry about that. It'll be.
And remember, if you have any questions about the Newcastle's disease, you can listen to podcast number 4. It has all the information. Bred to Perfection. The Bred to Perfection. Podcast number 4. It'll be on all the information that you need to know on the Newcastle's disease.
This particular episode will be on YouTube.
Right. So Joey was asking, some of the symptoms that he's seen could be symptoms of the same as Merrick's and other diseases. Yes. Yeah. Because a long time ago.
Well, let's put it this way. Merrick's is a neurological disease. So is this.
Can be, yeah.
Yeah. Influenza, coryza, all those things are respiratory diseases. So is this.
Yeah.
Coccidiosis, things like that are digestive systems. So is this. Okay. But the difference is these birds drop dead almost within hours after they're infected.
Right. That's the difference.
Or when they become symptomatic, because they can actually have the disease in them for up to 3 weeks before they actually start showing signs. But once the symptoms start, they're usually dead within hours.
And that was from Hard Ground Game Fowl. That was a good question. He's also asking, don't allow visitors on your farm and spray down and clean your shoes. Absolutely. Good advice.
Yeah, I don't, the shoes I wear outside my property are not the shoes I wear in the backyard. I have special clothes for the backyard. So I change my shoes.
The same thing too, when you go get your feed at the feed stores, you don't know what's on other people's shoes out there. Mm-hmm. So make sure that the shoes that you're walking around town in and in feed stores and the such aren't the shoes that you're in the backyard feeding your chickens with.
I know some of the feed stores, like one of the ones I go to, they're actually putting trays just inside the door, so that you walk in, you're sanitizing your feet, which is really good. Not all of them are doing that. So she's being proactive. So,
and not all of the feed stores up in Riverside and San Bernardino were actually getting the word out on a good biosecurity and things that you can do to prevent the disease becoming in contact with your birds.
So I'm just curious. There's a huge delay, so I'm not sure this is going to work out. But is there a way if you guys let me know here on the chat whether you live in the San Diego area and how many of you live in the Ramona area? I'm just kind of curious what kind of reach we're getting. I see a lot of my members on here, and
yes, Richard, good job. Keep a clean farm and sanitize and protect your birds from catching the disease. Yes, good advice.
So if you guys can get on here as fast as possible, let me know if you're in this area. I'm just trying to see how many people I'm reaching in the San Diego area and especially the Ramona area right now. But,
you know, somebody was asking if this is just in California. There actually was a case in Utah, and what had happened is somebody from LA
that's right.
had moved to Utah, moved their family to Utah, and they took their backyard chickens with them to Utah, and they brought it there with them.
But they got on it pretty quick.
They got on it really quick,
yeah.
and it was the only case reported in Utah. But I mean, I'm telling you, that's all it takes is moving your birds.
Well, we got in Alabama and Kentucky. I think you're safe for now. And I know Susan's Ramona, so she doesn't have to say anything.
Right, but she's asking if you have a visitor on your property, like a friend that does rescue, could they just use covered boots? You know, could she use covered boots for people that are visiting to have them walk around a property in boots? I would actually have the tray of bleach and just have them bleach their shoes.
As they come on your property, have them disinfect their shoes and change their shoes when they get there, at least. And if they have chickens where they live, then they're going to maybe take a change of clothes or something. I mean, try to find ways to take the precautions, especially if they have chickens, especially. Yeah, because Susan has a lot of chickens too.
Especially
Rhode Island.
right now.
Debbie's from Rhode Island. I'm getting a lot of out of state, but I'm not. Where are you, San Diego? Oh, there we go. Well, that's Central California. Richard. Okay.
I don't know that they've had any cases up that far in Central California. I know Ventura. They had a couple cases up there in Ventura County.
Okay. Want to wrap it up?
Okay, so real quick here, Joey's asking if they scroll back down. Okay, Joey Wilson is asking if they're killing a lot of birds down that way, or is it just mostly game fowl? Are they just targeting game fowl?
It's all birds.
No,
Matter of fact,
it's all backyard flocks.
We don't exactly, I wouldn't say this is a big game fowl community here, but we are a big chicken community here in Ramona. Like I said, this is very rural, residential, small farms kind of area. Very agricultural because we have cattle ranches, we have a lot of chicken ranches, things like that. We have some duck ranches, we have hatcheries, we have egg farms. So it's very rural, residential, very farm, agricultural. So, and I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But I wouldn't say there's a lot of game fowl, but there's a lot of chicken. So basically what I'm trying to say is almost everybody here in Ramona has livestock of some kind, somehow. It's huge. We support like 6 different feed stores in this county, and they all do really well. So
yeah, 5 feed stores in this little town, and they do all well.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see, we've got 3 more comments.
Oh, also a case in Arizona.
When? Richard, when was this? Is this recently or a while back? Because I haven't heard that. Which, and you guys are our next door neighbor, so thanks, Richard. Appreciate that. For
the information.
No, I'm talking about this Richard Marrero. He's telling us, so sorry. Man, if we don't get a handle on this is going to take off. This is not just going to be California, you guys. You guys got to stop moving birds. I don't care where you live, because you just never know when your next door neighbor is going to get it.
Well, too, this goes back to, if you're going to go shopping for your seed fowl, or for your seed fowl, quarantine those birds
Yep.
for 30 days. And then, I mean, away from your flock. And then after those 30 days, throw in a sacrificial lamb into the trio or the pair that you have, to make sure that, you know,
They don't
everything's
infect your
all
birds.
good.
Yeah,
that they
because
don't infect your birds,
they may you may bring them on your yard, but they be carriers, but not express the disease. So you
disease.
do want to give them 30 days to see if anything does develop, but then after 30 days, we talked about this earlier, put a sacrificial bird that you don't care about either right next to it or with it, and see if anything happens. And then if nothing happens, chances are you're okay, because whenever you're bringing birds onto your yard or back on your yard, you just don't know what you're bringing with them. So, oh, here he is. Okay.
Okay, it was a while ago.
Okay.
Arizona's was a while ago.
Yeah. I wonder how they took care of it. Yeah, we know about the one in Utah. We were just talking about that one, but they jumped on that pretty quickly. So we must have answered most of the questions. We're not getting a lot of questions now. And I think most of what we talked about,
yeah,
they got what they needed, I think, because it's starting to slow down. So we want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I'm going to, what?
We just want to say we appreciate all your prayers and thoughts and good wishes for us. We feel loved.
Hey, Cody, thanks for joining us. So because he just joined us. He's one of our members too. I'm going to tell everybody I'll say it over and over again. This is a recording. This is live right now, but we're recording it, and so is Facebook. So as soon as I get off of here, I'll hit the button, and you'll be able to re-listen to this. You'll be able to come back on here and listen to it again. So far, we're 46 minutes into this, and you can play it over and over again or whatever. And I may even add this to a Bread to Perfection show, like a special thing. So hopefully, I don't know what else to say other than that. I went on my rant. Hopefully I didn't.
At the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I don't usually. I'm not mad exactly. I'm just concerned.
Oh, I am.
I'm just.
We were doing so good for a year and a half.
I never thought this was going to happen.
Our backyard for
our little town.
Our Ramona Junior Fair didn't have a poultry show this year, and there's no shows up and down California. We were really hoping to get a handle on it. We were getting close to 180 days, and wham.
We could go 6 months and everything be good. And all of a sudden, one person expresses it again because they moved their birds or whatever. We're back to where we started.
Or they went to a place that was infected, had it on their shoes, and went to work at a poultry farm.
Yeah. And it could be anywhere. It could be
because it can live for at least 2 weeks off the host.
Really?
Right.
Okay, I didn't know that. She's smarter than me sometimes.
Well, I did the research and I did the article on it, and make sure you guys listen to.
Yeah, I did an article on it too.
Yeah, listen to the Bread to Perfection podcast number 4, because it will have lots of information on it for you that we didn't talk about today.
Yeah. Are we done? I don't want to hold up people all night. We don't have any more information. I'm done with my rant.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Until next time.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.